I mentioned in another video that I collect glass from a picture framing shop. As a result, I get large amounts of pieces of glass of various sizes and types. I wanted to develop a process where I could use this waste glass to sandwich almost any inorganic material between two pieces of cut glass. I call these encapsulated tile. First, find materials you want to encapsulate. I tried dirt from my property, sand from a nearby arroyo, various clays, crushed rock, various minerals, and even wood ash and fiberglass mat. I've also encapsulated colored glass, as you'll see at the end of this video. If you encapsulate glass, the trick is to use only glass fines and not too much, so as not to set up an incompatibility. First, you have to pre-fire the materials you want to encapsulate to burn off organics and to see whether you still find the color to be appealing. Of course, you don't pre-fire colored glass. I fire for 10 minutes at 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. This ensures that when you seal the material between the glass, there won't be any off-gassing to mess up the process. After you've pre-fired the materials you want to encapsulate, if they're not already fine, you need to reduce them to 30 mesh and finer grain size. Small ball mills are great for this. A hammer and pestle will often work as well. If you don't have any way to reduce the size, it's best to start with fine materials. Now make the mixture you will encapsulate. Here are the materials to have on hand. Pre-fired material for encapsulation. Pre-mixed starch, I like this grocery store starch. Fine frit, I use Bullseye's finest clear frit. This is necessary because you need to seal the edges of the encapsulating glass. If you don't seal the edges, you can't make a waterproof tile. I assume that fine frits from other glass manufacturers like Uroboros will also work. In my experience, ferro frits and fine soda lime glass will not work because they don't stay clear or their melting temperatures are not low enough. And you need your pre-cut pieces of glass. First, wipe the glass with some diluted detergent. This keeps the mixture from pooling. Then make the encapsulated mixture. This requires some testing to get the right proportions, but here's my mixture to make a 5x5 tile using crushed quartz rock from my yard. 20 grams of 30 mesh and finer quartz, 2 grams of premixed starch, 2 grams of fine frit, 10 grams of water. Make a slurry and pour it onto the pre-cut glass and level it. Put that on top of the kiln or in the sun to dry.
The move comes on the heels of a city committee endorsement of a resolution that all local firearms businesses sell the box with new gun purchases. A newly signed piece of legislation will now allow state agencies to accept online applications and renewals of professional and occupational certifications, permits, registrations, and licenses. It applies to a number of fields, including accounting, construction, dentistry, engineering, nursing, and pharmacy, among others. The digital process will allow for faster, easier, and less expensive processing by state agencies. As the U.S. Supreme Court considers two marriage equality issues both today and tomorrow, a coalition of local organizations plans a candlelight vigil at dusk tomorrow in Albuquerque. They plan to assemble at 5:30 Wednesday at the Duke City's Pete Domenici U.S. Courthouse to show support of same-sex unions.
After it's dry, or almost dry, use a razor blade to scrape the dried slurry off the outside 3/16 of an inch of glass.
As a result, about 1,700,000 acres of Catholic land was forfeited to the Crown. These confiscations were eventually reduced by attacking a scandalous plan to give Ireland a copper currency known as Wood's Halfpence.
There are two possible strategies for the other piece of glass facing the one with the slurry on it. One or the other will work better depending on the material you're encapsulating. One way is to wipe a little diluted detergent onto the surface of the glass, but don't wipe it off. Then take 5 grams of the fine frit and screen it onto the entire surface.
It instead presented all those who tried to impose the wretched coins as enemies of His Majesty and the welfare of this kingdom.
Sometimes it works better to just brush the edge of the glass with a little vegetable oil and screen frit onto only the edge of the glass. If you have problems with one technique, try the other. The frit in the mixture and the frit on the glass is necessary because it helps solidify the encapsulated mixture. If you don't use it, you will find your encapsulated mixture rattling around in between the two pieces of glass after you fire it. Now make your sandwich. It's important to use the glass with the hardened mixture on it as the top side of the tile. I put both pieces onto a 5x5 piece of aluminous substrate. I'll make another video about aluminous substrates. And here's my firing schedule. I go as quickly as possible to 980 Fahrenheit, hold for 10 minutes, then 10 minutes to 1520, and hold for 10 minutes, then cool. What you want to have happen is for the fritted edge to seal off and the encapsulated material to stick together enough with the frit in there to stay in place. I check whether they're sealed by dunking them in water to see whether they leak. Here are some samples. I particularly like the idea that you can make tiles encapsulating colored plaster, so your counter or floors can match your plaster walls, or you can match the tile in your shower to your living room walls.